Hello everyone, welcome to a Barotrauma Neurotrauma guide. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe to help out. If you don't already know what Barotrauma is, it's a deep-sea submarine team-based game on one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. If you don't know what Neurotrauma is, it's a mod that expands the simple health side of Barotrauma, adding more afflictions and treatments. Before we start, note that the Better Health UI mod, most hospital tutorial map, and of course the Neurotrauma mod have all been used in this video. All of these will be linked in the description. Now, starting off with the bone department, first of all we've got a dislocation. Now this is an easy fix. All we need to do is use morphine, doesn't matter where you use it as long as you use it. Then hit them with a wrench on each of these areas. On the health UI of course. You don't have to use morphine, but it's advised, because otherwise they'll get screaming and they won't be happy. Yay, happy days. Our patient has been treated. Next, we have fractures. So, what we want to do for a fracture is a non-surgical procedure. All we want to do is put a bandage on and then apply gypsum onto the bandaged area. This will leave the patient with a plaster cast, which can be removed once the fracture doesn't appear on the health scanner anymore. Now our patient's cured, we won't need him anymore. Next, we have a skull fracture, which will require surgery. So, the first thing we want to do is give our person morphine. Now, to avoid them getting traumatic shock, you're going to want to get them on a surgery bed, or in this case, near one. So, to open the surgery, we use a scalp. Next, to clamp the bleeding, we use a hemostat. Then, we're going to want to use skin retractors. Then lastly, we want to drill the bones. This drilling will allow us to use osteosynthesis implant on the head. Now to close the surgery, we just use a suture. And that's that. He's cured. Shame he won't need that skull for long. Next, we have broken ribs, which is pretty much the same procedure. Use a scalpel on the torso. Then, use a hemostat. Then, next, you're going to want to retract the skin. Then, drill the ribs. And of course, lastly, use osteosynthesis implants on the ribs. And he's cured. We won't need him anymore. On to the next department. Now, moving on to the blood department, we're starting off with acidosis and alkalosis. But we're not really, because they're such easy procedures and so rare that there really isn't any point covering them. Now, moving on to blood loss, it's a really easy procedure. You can either give them saline or blood packs, but make sure you don't give them the wrong blood pack. Now, just to quickly go past hypertension, that's just having too much blood in the body. That'll go down, but you can give them medication for it. These medication are sodium nitroprusside or nitroglycerin, but you can just take a blood pack from it. Next, we have sepsis, which can be easily solved by giving the patient broad spectrum antibiotics. Keep in mind that this can cause gangrene, and once gangrene gets above 15%, it's irreversible and the limb has to be taken off. Next, we have the more dangerous afflictions, the ones that require surgery. The first is pneumothorax. We require drainage on the chest. First, you want to use the scalpel, then the hemostat, then the skin retractors, then you're going to want to use drainage on the chest, then just close the surgery and they should be all fixed. Thank you, patient, you served us well. Next is cardiac tamponade, which is really simple. Just use a scalpel, then hemostat, then skin retractors, then just close the surgery and they're all fixed. Next we have internal bleeding, which is exactly the same procedure as cardiac tamponade. Open the chest with a scalpel, then they use the hemostat, then the skin retractors, then close it up and they're all fixed. Next. Then we have aortic rupture. Just use a scalpel, then an endovascular balloon, then a medical stent, and then you can close them up and they'll be fine. Well, maybe not, but at least their aorta's fine. And that's aortic rupture. Now we're going to talk about the basics for any emergency situation. Now our patient over here has been shot, so first thing we're going to want to do is put them in a stasis bag. This will pause them dying and will give you time to figure out what to do first. So first thing we want to do after we put them in the stasis bag is try to stop the bleeding, because that'll cause more problems. Now that we've stopped the bleeding, we can look on the med scanner to see what afflictions they have. So we've stopped the bleeding before they lose too much blood, so we shouldn't need to give them a blood pack. We will, however, need to do surgery to get rid of the pneumothorax and cardiac tamponade. Now we give them morphine so we can prepare them for surgery, and liquid oxygenate to get oxygen in the blood. Now what we want to do is get an auto pulse on them, as that will create a heart rate for them and it'll take them out cardiac arrest. Then it's time to start surgery. Now closing the surgery should now treat cardiac tamponade. However, the pneumothorax is still there, so we're going to have to use a needle to delay the surgery. This will only delay the effects of pneumothorax. You'll still need to do surgery, and the pneumothorax will still get worse. We will give them saline, just to make sure they do heal and don't get any worse. And that's a shooting victim cured. Please rate us 5 stars. Next on our list is artery bleeding, for which you're going to want to put a tourniquet on straight away. Then you're going to want to start doing surgery, because if you leave the tourniquet on for too long, you're going to have to lose the leg. It's a simple surgery. All you'll need to do is use a scalpel, hemostat, skin retractors, then you can close it and they'll be all good to go. And lastly is spinal cord injury. For this, you're going to want to use scalpel, hemostat, skin retractors, drill into this torso, and then use spinal cord implants, close them up, and they're fine. Now in neurotrauma, there is also surgical malpractice, as you can see here. Doc isn't happy you got shot. How's he going to react? Now that is going to be the end of this guide. If you found this guide helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe. It really helps out. But that's it. Bye.